Who, me? I'm blessed, man. Mahog blessed. You already know what it is. Listen, 2026, man. My ministry, the year education, going forward. We gonna drop jewels as much as we can, man. We got a lot of youngins. We the OGs at this point. So we got a lot of youngins coming up and they trying to figure it out. You know, we got some older heads. They trying to figure it out. Okay? So let's talk about it for a minute. This is what I want y'all to understand. Don't gate. Educate. Educate. It's okay, man. You know, anything that come from behind you, years-wise, you know what I mean? They're supposed to be greater, man. You're supposed to teach them. You're supposed to educate them. You know what I mean? So don't be ashamed to do so. It's not going to be any kind of way. So with me, I am very educated on recording, mixing, mastering, so on and so forth. You know what I mean? So with that being said, let's talk about it. Right now on the screen, I got Ableton Live up. Okay, now at the bottom of the screen, you'll see numerous of things. I can open Pro Tools. I can open whatever you need me to open. But right now, we go focus on Ableton. And what I want to talk about is the recording process, the recording vocals. So for me, even though I am a geek and I'm dealing pro as we speak right now, with that being said, I have enough CPU to do whatever I need to do. But just like my MPC 2000 and any MPC that I worked on prior to that as a very, very young kid, a teenager with a 60 Mark II, this is what I want to educate you guys on. Turn this heater back. I am a minimalist, meaning that on the MPC, if I had 10 seconds to work with back then, I worked with that 10 seconds. I figured it out. Well, and of course so the same thing. Even though I got a lot of CPU power, I like to future-proof, if you will. So ain't no telling what I'm going to get into on the mix, the plugins I'm going to have to use. And let's pause for a second. Let's talk about plugins. If anybody is out there and they are engineering, and they have the belief Pro Tools are, my bad, that plugins are going to take over the mix, you need to figure some things out. Plugins are just an emulation of hardware the majority of the time. That's it. Learn how to work that hardware, you will understand the plugin more. You can get away with presets. You can understand it a lot more and you can do your own thing. So let's keep it pushing. For me, I like to say the CPU power. So with that being said, you see at the top up here, is basically the 2-track bounced out. Understand the lingo. I'm going to break it down, but I'm going to keep it pushing real quick. That 2-track is basically the whole production bounced out. 2-track, that's it, left and right. That's it, the instrumental. Okay, if I open up the whole session, that one instrumental, a little bit north of 20 tracks. A lot going on in there. But to save the CPU power and everything that's going on in the digital world, where everything is basically plugins, okay? I bounce it out, set my tempo, I put it in. Go over one thing when I record. Let's just say, hypothetically, you decide you go record vocals, whether singing, MCing, what have you, whatever you're doing, and you get a track from somebody else. BPM. Well, for me, first thing I do is I have a template set up already in Ableton Live, already in Reason, already in Pro Tools, to whereas when I open up my template, it's automatically go give me that top track up there that's for the instrumental. It's going to give me my record and everything that's going in there on the print. That's going to be a whole other, you know what I mean, video. So we'll go over that later. And then I have a bunch of tracks up under it. But at the bottom of everything, let me take off this reverb track. I don't need it. Let me take off this delay. I don't need it. On master, my main, I don't put nothing on there because I'm just recording vocals. All I'm going to do is record the vocals. I'm going to edit the vocals. I'm going to bounce them over. That's it. I'm going to stem them out. Then I'm going to bounce them onto that whole session where everything is broken down so we can get very intricate and do what we got to do. So, that being said, once again, I have the track up top. It's for the instrumental. I have the record track that's coming in, vocals, everything that I want on there to print. Then I have all these tracks under here that are blank, and I'll be constantly moving stuff down as I record. At the bottom, instance of Serato. And the reason I have that instance of Serato, because if somebody send you a track and they don't tell you the BPM, well, whatever you use to get the BPM, you need to get the BPM. Being on the grid when you record vocals is simple. Now, do you need it? No, not at all. But for me, I like to edit according to the grid. So with that being said, this particular track, and this is my own production, is 82.47. All right, that's the BPM. That's the 82.47. I could tell you why. Some people that's old, you know, MPC heads or any old hardware, they know. Most of the time you bring them samples in, man, don't look. We ain't always exact. We ain't always BPMs or 82.50. It's off a little bit, and it's all for a reason. I mean, indulge for a second. A lot of times you had the OGs on reel-to-reels. They would have that track on reel-to-reels, and they would do particular things to throw the tempo off a little bit, so they, you know, so they weren't. So with that being said, a lot of the tempos might be weird numbers, so you can't get it exact. You know, you got a lot of carbon copy folks out there, man. You dig? See that? So let's go. With Serato, one thing I do is I take a track and I will dump it in Serato. And in this instance, I am definitely not trying to chop or do anything, but I'm just trying to get that tempo up there. So the tempo that it's reading is off 82.57. Okay, that's close enough. It's 0.10 off. That's close enough. Well, this is my track. I know what it is, 82.47. So let me get Serato out of there. CPU power. So let's move on. Record my vocals. If it is a 2-track you are mixing to, which most of this generation does, I'm going to give you a secret. Peace to Guru. I'm going to give you a secret that I was blessed with that'll help those vocals cut through. So we're past the recording stage, and I do another video where I'm going to break that down extremely. But let's say you got all your vocals in there. Right here on this track, this top track, it's the last thing I recorded. Those are ad-libs. Simple as that. Any of this empty space I'm going to get rid of. I don't want none of it. Here on this track, that right there is the hook. You know what I mean? These two down here are vocal comps. It's as simple as that. So before I bounce everything out, I'm going to label it. I'm going to know what's what. Clean it up a little bit. Get rid of some of this. And I'm going to show you how to make those vocals cut through. But played it like Bishop. Move diagonal. Revolver in hand. I'm all juiced up. Shit, I got the juice now, fam. Slam like Onyx. Finger sticky on the handle. Used to buy my sample tapes at that record store by Fedco. All right. The reason I solo is because I want you to hear the print. We go talk about that for the rest of this month. Make sure your print, your recording is clean going in.